In the dead of night, under the cloak of darkness, Congress, after intense debate and deliberation, pushed through President Trump's trillion-dollar tax and spending overhaul, a move that sparked both celebration and fierce opposition. This ambitious plan is set to fundamentally reshape the American economy for a generation, impacting everything from individual tax burdens to corporate investments. The bill sped through the Senate with remarkable speed, with lawmakers scrambling to keep up with the rapid pace and the complex details contained within the legislation. Amendments were scribbled in margins, reflecting last-minute changes and compromises, and there was precious little time for thorough analysis or public scrutiny. This was a high-stakes sprint against the clock, a race to enact significant change, a political power play designed to deliver on a core campaign promise made to the American people. The plan's centerpiece, the keystone of the entire legislative effort, a dramatic and substantial corporate tax cut, reducing the tax burden on businesses across the nation. The stated goal is aiming to make America more competitive in the global marketplace, attracting investment and fostering economic growth. But with these sweeping cuts come big questions and considerable uncertainty. How will the government pay for them in the long run, and what measures will be taken to offset the revenue loss? And perhaps more importantly, what will it mean for essential public services that millions of Americans rely on? The bill's scale is truly staggering, representing a massive shift in fiscal policy, $1 trillion in tax cuts and spending changes, fundamentally restructuring how the government collects revenue and allocates resources across various sectors. The aftershocks of this late-night vote will ripple through the economy for years to come, creating both opportunities and challenges, affecting individual paychecks, schools and educational institutions, and the ever-growing national debt. The nation now waits with bated breath, holding its breath in anticipation, to see if this high-stakes gamble ultimately brings widespread prosperity or unforeseen economic peril. The stakes couldn't be higher as the nation embarks on this uncertain path. So what's actually contained within the intricate details of this bill? What are the key provisions and how will they reshape the economic landscape? At its core, fundamentally, it introduces a historic corporate tax cut, dramatically slashing the rate from 35% all the way down to 15%. This is a major shift in fiscal policy. Supporters of the bill argue that this will incentivize businesses to remain in the U.S., fostering domestic investment, and crucially, boost hiring across various sectors. The hope is that companies will use the extra capital to expand their workforce. For individuals, the tax code undergoes a simplification process, aiming to make filing taxes less burdensome, with a significantly higher standard deduction potentially reducing the tax liability for many, and fewer brackets, streamlining the tax system. As a result, some families will experience modest tax cuts, providing a small boost to their disposable income. However, many popular deductions vanish, impacting taxpayers who previously relied on them, especially for those residing in high-tax states, where the loss of deductions could offset any potential gains. Furthermore, it's important to note that individual tax cuts are temporary, set to expire after a certain period. To offset the anticipated lost revenue resulting from these tax cuts, significant spending cuts loom across various government sectors. And critics warn that vital programs like Medicare, which provide health care to millions, and Social Security, the cornerstone of retirement benefits, could potentially be at risk of reduced funding. The administration is placing its bets on robust economic growth, hoping it will spur investment and job creation, to ultimately fill the budget gap created by the tax cuts, a strategy that is not without its risks. But many economists remain skeptical about the feasibility of achieving such high levels of sustained growth. So what will be the real impact of these changes? It's possible that some businesses may indeed hire more employees, leading to job creation, but families who are heavily reliant on government assistance programs could potentially lose out due to budget cuts. These are the fundamental trade-offs at the very heart of this complex legislation. Ultimately, who wins in this new economic landscape and conversely, who loses as a result of these sweeping changes remains to be seen, and only time will tell the full story. For supporters, it's seen as a path to economic liberation, a way to unshackle businesses and individuals from what they perceive as stifling taxes. But for critics, it represents a reckless gamble with the nation's financial future, a move that could have far-reaching and potentially devastating consequences.
You can't have a trillion-dollar tax cut without someone paying the price. Ultimately, the question becomes, who will bear that burden?
They warn of potential cuts to vital social programs like Medicare, education initiatives, and critical infrastructure projects, costs that will inevitably be paid by future generations through increased debt and diminished opportunities.
This is a massive transfer of wealth, plain and simple, from working families who are struggling to make ends meet to the already overflowing coffers of corporate boardrooms.
Critics argue that the lion's share of the benefits will disproportionately flow to the wealthy individuals and large corporations, all while the national debt continues to balloon to unsustainable levels.
This isn't just a tax cut, it's a jobs bill. It's an investment in the American economy and the American worker.
Backers firmly believe that lower taxes will spark a surge in investment, create a multitude of new jobs, and ultimately make the U.S. a magnet for global business and innovation.
We're giving the American people their money back, allowing them to invest in their families and their futures.
The country remains deeply split on the issue. Supporters champion it as a golden opportunity to unleash the full potential of the economy, while critics decry it as nothing more than a massive giveaway to the already wealthy elite. The public is left sorting through promises and warnings, uncertain of what's next. The answer likely lies between the extremes. Is this trillion-dollar plan economic genius or political chaos? The real verdict will come in the years ahead, in paychecks, business growth, and the nation's stability. The story isn't over. We'll be watching.
As a young voter, it's hard to know who's right. Will this help people like me or just the wealthy?
Both sides have experts and data to back them up.
Two visions for America's future. One sees growth and prosperity, the other, rising inequality and debt. Supporters trust the private sector to drive prosperity. Critics fear public services will suffer.